First and foremost, this is pulled from my Twitch stream, so if there's some quality goofiness in this, that's the reason. This video primarily is for my low defense, no defense people, and I'll be walking us through what's going on and why I'm doing certain things in a certain way, and it'll all be in layman's terms so I don't brain blast anybody Jimmy Neutron style. You don't have to be an expert at this, so I'm going to try to break it down literally as Barney style as possible. And I won't be talking about ticks or anything over the top except for maybe once or twice. So I hope you do find this informative, and let's get into it. Luring Tekton, you see I dropped food to make space for pulling out my scythe. I'm going to get it off the anvil, step back, mage it once or twice, maybe get a hit in if I'm lucky, and position it in the right spot. Once it's in position, Cuchue and I will Dragon Warhammer twice, tanking a hit to maximize damage utilizing our Vengeance, and Skrethan will BGS it for maximum defensive lowering. I'm too slow in this clip and my second Dragon Warhammer goes off after Skrethan's first BGS, which isn't what you want. You always want to land your Dragon Warhammers first and then BGS spec after. As soon as Tekton returns to its anvil, its defense levels reset, so your goal is to dump as much damage and defense lowering stuff into it as possible on the first phase. Keep moving around in the interim phase so you don't get dumpstered by the flying lava and all that other crap. Once Tekton comes off the anvil, you want to lure it as far back as possible, just like right here. This is in case if you don't kill it during the second rotation, it will give you the most amount of hits on its trek back to the anvil. When it comes to avoiding damage, it's as simple as attacking, stepping back, rinsing, and repeating. There is an occasional weapon cooldown because of the difference in attack timing, but I don't plan on brain blasting anybody and going super in depth with that. Next we have crabs, and I know for our order of operations, and I think pretty much everybody under the suns, we're going to do our purple crystal first, which is going to be range, then blue, melee, and by the time we get to the melee one, the blue one, I know one of my guys is going to be down there with a crab waiting for the bounce. So right there I take care of it. I grab aggro this one because I want to set up for the yellow crystal, which is going to be mage. As soon as I send it towards blue, I start setting up for the yellow crystal. I stun that one in position. I stun the second crab in the position, and then I grab the third one. And I start moving over for the last bounce, the third bounce. And I know after I set up for this, my friend here is going to be Johnny on the spot with his Warhammers. And then all I have to do is move into position for the white crystal, and then just wait for the bounces. Quick recap of the crystal's colors and attack styles. Purple is range, blue is melee, yellow is mage, and the black crystal has no attack, so you want it to be white going into the crystal, or you're going to have to redo that crystal's color. For Ice Demon, you're going to want to utilize the overload you just got from Tekton before it comes out, just to make sure your HP level isn't too low in case you goof. As for the overheads, you must be praying range. Dump any defensive lowering specials into it at the start of the kill just to speed up the kill time, and there is a safe spot on the north wall as long as no one moves it out of its normal position when it comes out. Fire spells hit exceedingly hard on Ice Demon, so I would highly suggest one member of the team bringing Fire Surge with a Tome of Fire, preferably with a Kodai or a Harmonized Orb. If you do have a Harmonized Orb, it's only 1 tick faster than a Kodai and 1.5 bill more, so take that with a grain of salt. Next, we have our favorite, Shamans. As you can see on my boost timers, we pre-antidoted at the bank before going in. And in lieu of a antidote, you could bring in a Sandfew, and it does the same exact thing. When it comes to luring the Shamans, after it jumps, you must aggro it with one attack and run, I believe it's 3 spaces back in case it shoots a green blob at you. We got unlucky and had the little explodey boys spawn, and I believe they hit up to an 11. Correct me if I'm wrong though, because it is important to know all of the max hits that you are going to deal with in every room. These marked tiles are very important. The one that I'm about to stand in is the tile for luring, which means the shaman can jump on me, which is what you want. If I am 1 square east or west of it, the shaman won't jump on me, which is not conducive for luring. The tile you see that I have marked that's 3 squares east of the luring tile is just in case the shaman shoots a green blob at me. I run there, avoid its damage. Once the attack lands, I would run back to the luring square and hopefully the shaman would jump on me, and then we just rinse repeat what we did with the first shaman. One thing to add, which I totally forgot, was to always pray range in this room until you have it safe spotted, at which time you can turn your overheads off. One thing we started to do to speed things up a little was sending a homie down to Vanguards right after Shamans while 2 of us prep. When going into Vanguards, you're going to want to bring in all 3 of your attack styles with you. There are 3 Vanguards, melee, identifiable by its shitload of tentacles. Preferably you want to kill this with mage and a sanguinesti staff for the healing, so put the team's highest mage bonus on the meleeer. Range. You can tell because it has a shitload of rocks in its hands. The best way to kill it is with the Scythe and Dragon Claw specking. If you're 1 defense, this is not a good idea for you to attack this one because it'll tear you a new butthole if you fuck up. And finally, Mage, which doesn't have any tentacles or shit in its hands. If you are low defense, no defense, this is the one you want to kill with a Twisted Bow because you will have the highest level of DPS here. Granted, when I came down, they were already near finished, so I took what I could and just played a supporting role to help expedite getting us into the thieving room. Up next, after thieving, we have everyone's favorite room, Vespula. Things to grab beforehand: 1 Overload, 1 Prayer Enhance, 5 to 7 Xerix Aids, 4 or 5 Restores depending upon your prayer level, Stamina Potions, and your rune pouch, because if you're 1 defense, you should be doing Fire Surge and Telegrab runes, so you're going to need Telegrab for rope after Vespula. If you wait 1 game tick or 0.6 seconds after going through the door, you'll be able to get the Vespula air quotes lure, so it doesn't attack any of the grubs and there won't be a need to feed. In a 3-man, it shouldn't be an issue, but it's always a good thing to learn whenever you're in groups of 4 or more. And you'll see the marked tile that I click, that's the one you need to run to, and then attack the portal from there. Make sure that you're brewed up past max HP, restored, stammed, overloaded, and ready to put on redemption. From here, it's as easy as click attack, run back to the square that you see marked on the screen, rinsing and repeating. That being said, never run in if your HP is under 10 because it can kill you. You always want 11 HP or more, I know, pretty scientific. And always be ready to hit your restore fast and apply your quick prayer to keep up a constant stream of DPS on the portal. A quick personal thing that I do, if I see that my HP is going to pop my redemption, I click my restore on the way back to the square, attack the boss, and then click my quick prayers on the way back so I don't sit idly by and waste DPS. Another little thing that if I see a 0, 1, 16, 31, 46 on the timer for my overload, I try to drink a brew because I know in the next second my overload's 15-second incremental mechanic will bring my stats back to 120. Now it's time for rope, and this is why you brought a rune pouch with the telegrab runes in it. And if you didn't grab your rune pouch, utilize the bank right before the room and grab it. When you go in, you'll have your highest agility player, Brutiful, and cross the rope praying mage. For this to work, you and your other teammate need to tag both rangers and communicate which one you are getting. If you hit it perfectly right, you only need to attack once, but I suggest attacking twice to make sure you absolutely don't get the guy crossing the rope range aggroed. Once you've hit it once or twice, depending upon your timing, hide behind the wall and then wait for them to drop the crystal, at which time, praying range and full HP, you run up and telegrab the crystal and open the door. You've now made it to the last floor. All that stands between you and Ulm are Guardians, Vasa, Skeletal Mystics, and Mutadile. That being said, the gear that you're going to need to bring down is everything but your mage gear, to include pickaxe, salve, some stab weapons, so rapier in my case, claws, and then in our case with our team, axes to cut the Mutadile tree. I'm not going to cover Guardians because I refuse to insult my viewers' intelligence. Put the weapon on smash, the crush option, attack every 5 ticks, take 2 steps back, simple. For Vasa though, once Guardians are done, you need to make sure that you have time on your overload or that you re-overload. Every team member should be venged in 118 HP or max HP depending upon your levels when they run in. The member teleported to the outside needs to run to the middle praying range so that everybody's vengeance pops for the 78 damage, assuming everybody's 118 HP. And if it doesn't hit a 78 on you, it's an indicator that somebody wasn't full HP. So, we know. Again, if you're one of the poor schmucks stuck in the middle, attack it as soon as the explosions occur and run in any direction away from Vasa and put on your range protect. There may be a slight delay, but just shoot and scoot with either blowpipe or twisted bow, whichever that you have. Once Vasa makes its way to a crystal, put on your melee gear with your stab weapon and go to town. If you have claws, it would be advantageous to dump them as fast as you can so Vasa heals less on crystal. Vasa's defense level resets every time it makes it to a crystal, so Dragon Claw specking is a better use of your special attack rather than using a Dragon Warhammer unless you're a team full of blowpipes. The longer Vasa's on the crystal, the more it heals, so do your best to kill it in a timely manner. Once it's off crystal, again, shoot and scoot, do your best to maybe get behind it so it won't come turn your way and run your ass over. Another piece of sage advice I left out on accident was never stand on top of your teammate or run near them because your face becomes the catcher's mitt for Vasa's balls, even if it was meant for them. Once Vasa's dead, pick up the bruise, equip your salve, and make your way to the Skeletal Mystics. This room is legitimately retard proof, so I'm going to 2x speed this room. As you can see, we run in, attack the Mystic, then we go hide behind the plant if need be, luring the Mystic into the air quote safe spot. Safe spot's air quoted because it can still mage you, but it can't melee you, and in the end it'll save you bruise because it won't mage you every time, at least not on the first Mystic. Now that we're on the second Mystic, we're in this marked tile. It allows us to attack it from here and not aggro the other 2 Mystics in the back. So this one is already lured for the most part. All we have to do is bring him in. There, now he's lured. We kill this one, utilize Venge if we can, and as soon as this one's dead, we're going to go move into the next safe spot for the green one in the corner. One thing to note when you're luring, if you know you're going to get meleeed, keep your HP above 50. I've been hit 45, so rule of thumb on 99% of challenge mode raids is that if your HP is above 50, you're fine for 1 hit, an emphasis on 1 hit. So now that Mystics are over, it's now the last room before Ulm, Mutadile. One thing I want to point out is that if you are new to challenge modes or raids, do not do the cutting method. You're better off damaging Mutadile down to 40% with either a blowpipe or scythe or something to that extent than barraging or using a Zamorak Godsword. Granted, the Zamorak Godsword is much more accurate than barrage. This cutting method speeds things up, but as you'll see, my brews are going to get decimated from this. Now for the max hits. Remember when I said 50 HP or higher? Yeah, well this room's going to be insanely different. The small Mutadile can melee around a 55 and its range attack can hit up to 55. All the while the big Muta in the water can mage you for, I believe it's up to a 35, so that's 90 HP. So with the small Mutadile, you'll have to alter your prayer depending upon your distance from it and keep your HP in the 80 plus range at a minimum to keep you from potentially being 1 hit. If you're not doing the cutting method and you're either ZGSing or freezing Mutadile, at 40% HP left it'll make its way towards the tree, so be ready beforehand to try and make sure Mutadile is at least a decent distance from the tree so you either have a second opportunity to cast or special if your first one misses. For all intents and purposes, you landed your ZGS, its glitch phase is ended. It still has the potential to return to the tree, but in this scenario it doesn't. You kill the small Mutadile and prepare for the large one to come out. Apologies for this bad screenshot and pausing it, but there are 2 safe spots in the Mutadile room for the large Mutadile, both marked by the red arrows. The benefit of doing the eastern safe spot is that it gives you more leeway time-wise for specking or freezing Mutadile before he zooms back to the tree, whereas the western one gives you pretty much 0 time. We're using the western safe spot because having chopped the tree, he can't return to it to heal, so we need ZGS or barrage. Also, he can't come around the corner like the eastern safe spot and potentially one-shot the whole team. The large Mutadile hits constant 40s through range prayer, its mage hits 40s as well. If it melees you, it can one-hit you, doesn't matter your HP. I've seen it do 118s. So do your best to keep as high HP as possible at all times. If you didn't cut the tree, just like the small Mutadile, it will return to the tree to heal itself at 40% HP, so be ready in advance for this to either ZGS or barrage it. Now that the large and small Mutadiles are both dead, pick up the Overload's Prayer Enhances, whatever other potions you need from them, run east, and gear for the final boss fight. At this point, you need to withdraw your magic, range, and melee gear. Rune pouch with water spells, you may or may not be the guy with water spells. As 1 defense you should, but if you aren't, don't worry about it. As for potions, personally, with 99 prayer and massive amounts of prayer bonus, what I bring potion wise is 1 overload, 1 prayer enhance, 2 revitalizations, and 9 to 10 brews. If you are about 52 prayer, which most peers are, I would suggest probably 3 revitalizations, but I would suggest critiquing it once you've done it before and make your adjustments after a completion. As for Ulm, it's pretty cut and dry. You can only skin a cat so many ways. As for our team, we do mage skipping. I tank the damage because I have the most amount of brews. This also allows one guy not to take any damage while killing the mage hand, so if the melee or I need a brew by head phase, he'll have extra to drop us. One thing I meant to say is I actually volunteer to do the mage skipping because of the amount of brews that I have. Your team may be different. They may let you be the leech, the guy who doesn't take any damage. Maybe it's out of pity or some other emotion. Maybe they just want you to be the pack ag for brews for them until the end if they need them. Another note for max hits, as I said earlier, knowing the max hits is extremely important so you don't die and shaft your teammates. This becomes increasingly more important as 1 defense because the odds are you're being backpacked already, so dying just makes people less inclined to bring you again. That being said, the normal hits in a trio generally run about a 45 on head phase. I think it's a 48. So I would suggest at least 60 HP at all times in case you do get Jad phased back-to-back 40s. You'll have some space to spam brew and not get shack food. One extremely important thing to note that I heard the other day is never let your team put you on the melee hand while the mage hand is alive. You're going to need to put your shit on long range to hit the mage hand and not script the rotation, so you can't put the low def, no def person on the solo melee hand until 3rd phase. On 3rd phase, this is only possible because they can do melee skipping, so long as the team isn't already mage skipping. A few quick small things that we do before I let the rest of Ohm play out is on the melee hand portion, whenever we pair, we always collapse left towards the thumb. We don't run there instantly, we wait till the last tick so we don't burn one another, should it be flame phase, drop rocks on each other's heads during crystal phase, or bathe them in a pool of acid during the acid phase. After pairing, you should always be ready to step back and re-attack after crystals appear under your character, as you will see in the clips. And if there's anything important that I've missed in these quick little things, I'll let you know and address it as I see it in the clips. So right here, you're going to see a great example of why you don't instantly run to somebody when you're paired with them.
stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.
I do hope this helped and was informative. I know I didn't go super in depth with all the rooms, so if you have any questions, put it in the comments and I'll respond. I'll also be making a guide for low def, no def gearing for challenge modes. Not entirely sure when that will be done. I may post these simultaneously, but we will see. Until next time, yeet-haw!